Hello everyone, welcome to yet another edition of Tarmak Talking. With me today we have Air Marshal Philip Rajkumar, a very senior aviator of India, and most of you following the Tejas program must be very familiar with him. He has served Indian Air Force for close to 4 decades, and Tejas program alone for almost 9 years, out of which 7 years in uniform and then last 2 years in ADA playing different roles. The purpose of this Tarmac Talking is to bring to you, all youngsters, the story of his latest book, Radiance in Indian Skies, the Tejas Saga. This is his second book on Tejas, and in 2007, the first book, the Tejas story, had come out. So let us ask him the special features of this book and also some other interesting aspects from this very inspiring aviator. Welcome to this show, Air Marshal Sir. It's always a pleasure meeting you. Fond memories of many encounters we had over the years, I think close to 2 decades. I think I first met you when I was in Times of India way back in 98, 99. So thank you for taking time out and coming for the show.
Hi Anand, good to be here. Nice to see you again. And I've been following your progress at the Aero India 2021. You had a number of videos made on Tarmac 007. All of them were very interesting, but all this has taken a toll on you. You're looking a bit tired.
Yes, sir.
I hope you'll recover soon.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to be here to discuss Radiance in Indian Skies.
This book, I was talking to many people at Aero India, went to DESIDOC stall, and a lot of youngsters, after I put out a couple of tweets and a small update on the YouTube channel, a lot of youngsters want to know about this book. Even I am keen to know more about it. What made you to write another book on Tejas?
My first book, The Tejas Story, only covered my 9 years of stay at ADA and basically dealt with the first 98 flights. I was there for the first 98 flights of TD1 and TD2. And it was very limited to the flight test angle. This Radiance in Indian Skies covers the period from 1969, the Subramaniam Committee, which first mooted the idea of a fighter program in India, right up to the first carrier landing in January 2020. I have tried to convey the struggles of the development team as well as all the many narrow shaves that the flight test crew had in developing this aircraft. Fortunately, we've had a stellar flight safety record.
Touch wood till so.
Yeah, touch wood. And I've also tried to include the role played by HAL, the private industries, the certification agencies. There's a little bit about the Kaveri engine program and the multimode radar development program. And I've also emphasized the role played by women scientists in the program. They've made a huge contribution. So all that is there in the book. At the end of the book, there are 2 annexures, one written by Dr. K.G. Narayanan, who spearheaded the development of the flight control system at Aeronautical Development Establishment, and another one by Mr. Krishna Prasad, who was the lead engineer developing the air-to-air refueling system for the Tejas.
Okay.
So those 2 annexures are also worth reading because they contain a lot of detail on how these 2 difficult technologies were developed indigenously. Of course, the fly-by-wire system, we had assistance from Lockheed Martin, but the air-to-air refueling system was largely indigenous. The whole probe, the design, the plumbing inside the aircraft, everything was done by ADA. Unfortunately, India lacked the manufacturing facilities for the probe, and we had to go to Cobham in UK. And Cobham was quite candid to admit that ADA deprived them of £2 million of fees for the design of the probe. And 2 million pounds is how much? It's something like 20 crores. And I think the ADA team developed it for less than £1.5 crore. Now that is the kind of advantage you get if you involve Indian industry in the development of aerospace technologies.
Talk about the program also in between so that, it gels well with the book. Tejas, you have been part of it at a very critical period. You have seen it at different stages. Today it's hailed by everyone, including the people who looked down upon the project at one time. What has been one most significant reason for the success of Tejas so far? If you have to pick up one reason, there could be many.
The main, I would give a lot of credit to Dr. Kota Harinarayana for his dogged determination in the face of, he's an aerodynamics man, so I say he worked in an adverse pressure gradient. And it was his determination which laid the foundation for the program, the developmental side. And I was involved in laying the foundation for the flight test program.
All right.
So I would give 60 to 70% of the credit to Dr. Kota, and I'll take 30% of credit to myself for looking after the flight test program, which has had, touchwood, a good safety record.
Brilliant. So when did you start the process of this book?
We started thinking about this book sometime in 2018, and Dr. Christopher, when he was the scientific advisor, he issued the Government of India letter, the official DRDO letter, authorizing me to start work on the book. But in between, I had a problem. My wife fell sick. I lost a lot of time there. Then in 19, we started working in earnest. And then early this year, the pandemic struck. And then again, we lost about 6 months of time. But in between, technology had moved ahead. We did a lot of meetings on Zoom and Google Meet. And so we continued working on the book right through the pandemic.
So this book also had its ups and downs like the Tejas program.
Yes, certainly it did. And towards the end, we had a lot of support from DESIDOC.
And they are the real unsung heroes, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
A fantastic team.
And in the book, I've acknowledged their contribution. And Dr. Alka Suri, Alka Bansal, the editor, Gunjan Bakshi, the assistant editor, Dr. Satish Reddy himself, Dr. Tessie Thomas over here in Bangalore, they were all extremely supportive. Not to mention the support I have received from Dr. Girish Devadare, who was the director, who is now currently the director ADA. So everybody supported us.
And of course your co-author Srikanth.
Yes, and of course, Srikanth was the man who conducted a number of interviews with people like Dr. Atre, Dr. Arunachalam, Dr. M R Srinivasan. He had talked to M R Srinivasan to find out about Dr. Raja Ramanna, and of course, Professor Rodam Narasimha.
So in this book, what is that young aerospace and defense students who want to get into aerospace and defense, what is that they can get from this book?
What they should take heart from the success their predecessors have achieved with technical expertise and determination and perseverance. These things don't come easy. You've got to work years and years at it. And that's what Team LCA at ADA has done. And also, ecosystem has been developed. There are about 500 private industries working, supplying components to this program. And HAL also has played a huge role because after all, they're the ones making the aircraft, manufacturing the aircraft, as well as they are the ones designing all the general systems. Now, ADA took the lead in developing the flight control system design. NAL, the control law team developed now the control law.
Another unsung hero in the LCA program, NAL, always.
Yes, NAL has also played a huge role.
Shyam Shetty and team, the kind of...
Shyam Shetty, Dr. Girish Devadare,
yes.
The present Dr. Vijay Patel, so many people. And that's why right in the beginning we have paid tribute to Team LCA, the hundreds of men and women who have worked in the program for 3 decades, to make it a success.
In this book, I have gone through it. I picked it up from the DESIDOC stall this time.
Yeah.
Several interesting chapters. What is that one segment you really liked writing?
There are two segments of particular interest. One is the fly-by-wire system, both what I have written as well as the annexure written by Dr. K.G. Narayanan. Both are very interesting. And the bit about the naval LCA. The naval LCA is a really wonderful story. Commodore Jaideep Mavalankar is the main person who pushed the flight test side. And then you had Commodore Balaji, who worked 15, 17 years in developing the naval version. So these two naval officers are the main drivers of the naval program, and they have achieved success.
You know, what were the, you said pandemic and other personal issues that have stopped the progress of the book in between. But finally, I understand towards the end of it, there was so much of excitement and so much of pressure to beat the deadline, to ensure that this paper Tejas flies, comes out during Aero India.
Yes, the whole focus was, the newspapers, the media was agog with the news that this 83 aircraft order, the final inking of that contract would be done at Aero India. So this was the ideal time for the book to be released to catch the public eye. So when I told Dr. Satish Reddy, I said, this is the time to get the book released. And I also told the Air Chief Marshal Rakesh Bhaduria, who was quite intimately involved with the program in the early years. And both of them pushed DESIDOC, and DESIDOC responded magnificently. And we were all thrilled when the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh actually released the book as planned at Aero India.
On time.
On time.
Interesting to know, even Bhaduria Sahab, the Chief of Air Staff, had a role to play in this book as well, because the way he has supported Tejas over the years, I think that itself calls for another book, because nobody knows what all things he has done silently, passionately, isn't it?
The Chief of the Air Staff has been a passionate supporter of indigenization, and particularly in the Tejas program. When I was program director of flight test, he was a young wing commander. He came to me and said, I wish to work in the program. So I said, do you have the necessary interest and the determination? He said, yes, I have. So he joined the program and made a big contribution. He also headed he was project director for a while before he moved out. And the early period of testing, the initial period of envelope expansion was all done by Chotu Bhaduria.
Yes.
So he's got an emotional connect with the program, and he also knows how good the aircraft is. So at Sulur and the inauguration of the 2nd Squadron, 18th Squadron, he made an official statement that he said is the best in class in the world.
Absolutely. In fact, I was there for the first, when the Flying Daggers moved from Bangalore to Sulur.
Yeah.
I was there for that inaugural as well. So various facets of the Chief of Air Staff, I've seen how passionately he is involved. And during Aero India, with an interview to Tarmak, he said about his now what various stakeholders should do, a clear roadmap. And with Tejas more numbers getting inducted, the new face of Indian Air Force, there is going to be a different kind of Air Force in the next 10, 20 years, isn't it? That's what.
Yes. I think we have reached the stage where indigenization is really going to take off, because today you see all the system design IP, the intellectual property, rests with us, either with HAL or with ADA. We can design the flight control system, we can work on composites, we can design airframes, we have very good computing capability in ADA, and all the software is developed in-house, and there's something like 3.5 million lines of code sitting in the aircraft. As of now, it may increase in future. 2.5 million lines in the mission computer,
All right.
and about 1 million lines plus in the digital flight control computer. So all this is indigenous, this is intellectual property which we own. We don't have to go anywhere in the world. And more importantly, we have now created a database. Future designers have this database to work on, which is something we didn't have at the start of the Tejas program.
Do you think that if this program would have got the kind of support it is getting now some 10 or 15 years back from all sides, the story would have been different?
Yes, I think we could have accelerated it by few years, 5, 6 years maybe, because of fence sitting by some of the major partners. And I have said there is one little chapter on the lessons learned, learning curve of the program.
Okay.
And the very first thing I have said in that is that conflict resolution between participating agencies must be resolved before the start of the program.
I think that itself is a great subject for a separate book, sir.
Yes, and I have also said that the user services must own the program and support it with vigor.
In fact, since you used that word owned, I was telling one of the very senior Air Force officials at the Air Headquarters while interviewing the Air Chief Marshal this time that at least, I personally feel, having chased this program, many people are owning the program now.
Yes.
That wasn't the case before. And I don't want to name them who it is, whether it is an organization or individuals, but at least I get a sense of feeling that, yes.
Right now what has happened is there's been a sea change in the attitude of all concerned.
Yes.
Hindustan Aeronautics, Indian Air Force, Ministry of Defence, Indian Navy, everybody is now focused on pushing the gains of the program, pushing it forward.
And also the industry also might have gained some kind of a confidence that, numbers are there, orders are there, and they might have got better exposure, better recognition.
Yes.
I think, even that is one story that, the MSMEs and others, supporting the ecosystem, the chain, the huge numbers spread across different parts of the country. Even that story, their confidence is also one major factor for this program,
Yes,
isn't it?
I agree, totally. The manufacturing technology base at HAL has also got a quantum jump upwards. The kind of manufacturing technology available today because of the Tejas program sets the stage for HAL to move to the next level.
And sir, I must tell you that, having interacted with multiple stakeholders, I also get sense of feeling the number of youngsters in HAL, in ADA, in NAL, and, everywhere. A lot of youngsters are now visible.
Yes.
Part of, taking very crucial decisions.
Yes, the young team at HAL in the design bureau, take for example the team which designed the HTT-40 turboprop trainer, and all the people who are working on the LCA program, they are all extremely enthusiastic. They are young, enthusiastic, they want to do things, and it's for the leadership to make use of this opportunity.
Interesting. Okay, that reminds me of something. I should have done it in the beginning, so let me just do it now. Here is one Hamara Tejas badge for you.
Thank you.
You might have seen this on Twitter and all. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, so you can. Another group that has played a huge role is the National Flight Test Center.
Yes.
So, did they also play?
Yes, there is a chapter on the National Flight Test Center, and the National Flight Center was established when I joined ADA on the 17th of September 1994, and this was something like 6.5 years before first flight, and I had a team of pilots drawn from the IAF, from HAL. I had engineers from ADA, HAL, and the Air Force, and I had to knit together a team out of these people from diverse backgrounds with different work cultures and not very well defined lines of command and control.
Okay.
And I had the task of flight testing the most ambitious flight aeronautical program the countries have attempted. And so my first emphasis was on safety.
All right.
Safety took prime importance in all my planning and everything I did. Safety, safety, safety. I drilled it into the team. And I said that, I always said that, and even after I left, I kept telling the guys that flight test is the last link in the chain where a serious incident or accident can be prevented.
Okay.
And if flight test failed, the program would have scored a self-goal.
All right.
That's what I told them. After I left, a succession of project directors have come. The current project director is Air Vice Marshal Mola is the current project director. And a couple of project directors have played a major role. One is Air Commodore Rohit Verma,
Yes.
during whose tenure the initial IOC-1 was declared. And then there's another Air Commodore Muttanna, in whose time IOC-2 was declared in December 2013. And then the test pilots who worked in the program, Rajiv Kotial and Nambiar, they did the first TD1 flights. After that, we had Banerjee flying TD2. And then the guy who did a lot of testing in the technology demonstration program was Sunit Krishna.
Yeah, Group Captain Sunit Krishna is a very inspiring pilot. Yes.
Yeah, Sunit Krishna, then he was followed by Rituraj Tyagi, and then we had Harish Nayani, and so on, Vikram Singh, Venugopal, who is now the present chief test pilot there, Air Vice Marshal Tiwari. So a number of people have played, and then as far as the envelope expansion is concerned and the naval program, Commodore Maulankar, the naval pilot, has played a huge role. And one of the unsung heroes of the National Flight Test Center is the instrumentation team. They have done a marvelous job. They have made sure that the data which is required for analysis by the designers is obtained, made available quickly after the sortie. And I must also mention the role of the flight test engineers. Like Wing Commander Ravindran was there for 20 years. He provided the much needed continuity in the program. Then we have Wing Commander Group Captain Prabhu and Group Captain Kabadwal, who are still there now. They are the people who act as the link between the flight test and the designers. Now the good thing is that has happened by the creation of NFTC is that the pilots and flight test engineers of NFTC, the control law team at NAL, the Ironbird team at HAL, the simulator team at ADE, and the avionics and weapons team at ADA, they've all bonded very closely, and you can say that the Tejas becoming an operational fighter is because of this very close bonding.
Close bonding between. Sir,
Yeah, thank you. And the role played by women scientists at ADA is also huge. Most of the software team are ladies. They didn't know much about operational requirements of the Air Force. So they used to go and ask the NFTC team, please tell us this, what should we do, what should we do? And NFTC always provided those inputs. And the joke was that unless a lady gave her okay, you couldn't fire a missile or drop a bomb.
Okay, interesting. Yes. Since you mentioned Sunit Krishna's name, Sunit is a good friend of mine, and this cap, this is 10 years old, what I'm wearing.
Okay.
And there's only one cap I have of Tejas, and I kept it like that, very special. And,
okay.
He has been, I think he's yet another unsung hero, isn't it?
Yes.
Tremendous amount of flying he has done.
Well, he did something like 550 sorties of prototype testing. Rituraj Tyagi did 650 sorties.
So yeah, all the test pilots, part of NFTC, it's they are all superheroes.
Yes.
So that I want to just now get your attention back to the book again. What are the motivational factors?
The motivation to write the book is threefold. First is that as far as the Marut, Kiran, HPT-32, ALH programs all developed by HAL, there is nothing available to say what the journey was like, what were the difficulties they faced, how did they overcome the technological challenges at that time. There's nothing written, there's no history available. The first thing was I wanted to make a record of the journey of the Tejas. That was first motivation. Second motivation was to inspire generation next to follow a career in aerospace. And third is to make the story known to the general Indian public that this is what has been achieved by a group of very young engineers, and this is the talent available in the country, and there is no technological barrier that we cannot surmount. So these were the three motivations.
And finally, tons of work Srikanth also might have done in terms of interviews, recording it, all that. So how has been the experience working with Srikanth?
Oh, excellent. We bonded very well, and in fact, Srikanth used to come and pick me up in the morning, then we would drive off to ADA. Girish Devadare had given us a room and a computer to sit and work in peace. Otherwise, ADA provided the environment, Srikanth put in a lot of effort. It was a team effort.
Team effort.
Yeah.
So finally, one question I keep asking these days, without fail, to all the people whom I interview is that, what is that, since the focus of all that what we do are now targeted at youngsters, something which always Guru Kalam wanted. What is that you want to tell the young fellows who are so passionate about Tejas, who are so passionate about India's aerospace and defense? I'm sure you wanted to talk to them. What is that you want to tell them?
Well, the young engineers need to have the proper education background. That is, they must have masters in aerospace engineering, if not a doctorate. They should have a good grounding in computer science, because nothing happens without computers in aerospace these days. And the 3Ds, determination, dedication, determination and discipline. The 3Ds they need. And things are not going to happen overnight, going to take a long time and a lot of focused effort. So generation next of engineers must be prepared for that. And today India is poised for a big leap forward in aeronautics. There are a lot of exciting programs, both manned and unmanned, and then the drones are coming in a big way. So for a young engineer in his 20s, I think Indian aerospace offers a host of opportunities, and they should cash in on that. And my request to the generation next engineers is, there's such a lot of information available on the internet. Make use of it for increasing your professional knowledge. There's such a lot of misinformation on social media, so don't waste time looking at social media, because there's nothing you can trust in the social media anymore. All sorts of information is appearing, so it's okay to just glance through it, but don't waste time on it. But use the internet to gather professional knowledge which is available from anywhere in the world.
What is that you also want to tell the fellows in 10th standard, 11th, 12th? They also follow our programs very passionately. You spoke about the engineers, fine, but those guys who are just around 15, 16, probably deciding or don't know what to do in the early stages of their setting their flight path.
For the people who are in 10, 11, 12, they have two very clear lines to follow if they want a career in aerospace. One is the engineering career and the other is the flying career. Those who want to fly should sit for the National Defence Academy entrance exam, go there, join the Air Force.
Or any other armed forces wing.
Any of the armed forces, and start flying. And then at a certain stage, when they have 7, 8 years of service, they can come and get trained as test pilots and get into flight test programs. That is the flying side. Then the engineering side, they need to go and do a basic bachelor's in aeronautical engineering, followed by a master's. then get into either DRDO or places like ADA. Now ADA has got a tremendous brand name, and there are a lot of exciting things happening in ADA.
And they have a young scientist forum. Why is
Yeah,
it,
they have a name.
that's something interesting.
So as far as Gen Next is concerned, I think it's a huge opportunity is opened up for them, which for example didn't exist in my day. My father couldn't afford to pay for my flying lessons. I had to join the Air Force to learn to fly.
Oh, I see.
That advantage still exists for people going to a National Defence Academy. They learn flying at government expense. In fact, even when they're cadets, they're paid a stipend.
Very interesting aspect. Something which I wanted to tell you guys is that last year, at the age of 78, 79, right? 78. He had his first flight on Tejas, on a trainer, PV6
trainer.
And that is something really, really great. At that age, I don't think so anybody has flown Tejas, and you were able to.
Yeah. After takeoff, I flew it in the air because I wanted to feel the flight controls, because I had worked on the development of the control law during in-flight simulation 25 years earlier. So I wanted to see how it had turned out, and that was a wonderful experience.
Okay, brilliant. So thank you so much, Air Marshal Philip Rajkumar, sir. Whenever I see you, I am reminded about, shall we share that joke with them, or
yes.
we will keep it as so we have something very interesting to share, that a small story, quickly I'll tell. It was 99, and I was in Times of India. I just got married, and 1 year into marriage, and then during the Air Force Day, the training command invited a couple of us for the Air Force Day dinner. And we were all there. So there was some set of instructions written that you must wear the proper
coat and tie.
Sorry.
Jacket and tie.
Yeah, jacket and tie. So and honestly, I didn't have a jacket then, and so I called him up and asked, jacket abhi kya karna? And I didn't want to buy a jacket just for 1 day, and so then he said, no, you have to wear a jacket and come. So somehow, anyway, I had a friend in British Airways then, and I called him up and I borrowed his jacket. And so we went, and the moment he spotted me, he came and said, manage somehow. And ever since, whenever we made the jacket joke.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. But those were the days. It was interesting. There was better bonding between services and journalists, Things have really changed.
Okay.
In the sense, it was easy to go and meet people, and,
yeah.
Times have changed. Anyway, so thank you so much. It is these are gems of India's aerospace and defense. Air Marshal Philip Rajkumar is a powerhouse of so much of priceless stories. I have written about him many, many times, including his stint in Tikrit in Iraq.
Yes.
When Saddam Hussein was there, and the Indian Air Force pilots went there and trained them, and then one day Saddam Hussein came to meet them at their squadron place, and then he gifted all of them watches, expensive watches. So there are many, many stories. So stay tuned to this channel for such inspiring stories. I hope you enjoyed this Tarmak's talking session. We shall be back with yet another inspiring story. Do tell others in case if you find this content interesting. And please do remember to subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Jai Hind.